Hi, my name is Alexander Gosh, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit about how to communicate efficiently and effectively in your personal life as well as your professional life. You see, a lot of people think communication is just the words that come out of your mouth, but it's so much more than that. Communication involves your body language, your tone, your overall demeanor, just how your message comes across to the audience. And as you can see in the chart below, it's only 7% of spoken words is communication. There's 38% of your voice and your tone and 55% of how your body language is. If you have your arms crossed, you seem closed up and you don't want to look. If you can't make eye contact, it seems like you're just not interested. So you have to take into account that there's many separate ways to look at communication, and to know that will make it much easier to communicate efficiently and effectively. Now on to the four truths of communication. Communication is the key to all relationships, both personal and professional. A marriage will never work if there's no communication between the two parties, and a job is much harder to do if there's not adequate, quick, and effective communication between all parties involved. The first truth of communication is to simplify your message. Why take an hour to say something if you can get it done in 5 minutes? All it does is make your audience lose interest in the topic. The second truth is to know the person in the audience. You see, every country around the world has different ways of communicating. In Asia, they see eye contact as a bad thing, but here, eye contact is seen as being attentive. And so you want to make sure you know exactly who you're talking to. That way you can adjust your message accordingly. The third truth is to tell the truth. You never want to lie in a message. You don't want to make people think that there's anything that could damage your credibility. And anytime you do that, it will take away from the way people look at you and the way people respect you. And you never want that. And the last one is to seek a response. Communication is a two-way street, and you always want to know what the feedback is. You want to know what people think of it. And if they have a question, you don't want them to be afraid to ask, because that's bad communication. You always want to know what the people you're talking to think and ask them their opinion. Now I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about examples of effective communication. And the first one is Ronald Reagan. And a lot of people see him as the best president of the United States, at least in the last century, maybe the best we've ever had. And I can't say that I disagree. But in 1980, when he was running for president, as to where many people have huge speeches and slogans and trying to get people's attention, all he said was, "Are you better now than you were 4 years ago?" And for a lot of people, the answer to that question was no. Also, instead of having a lengthy slogan, whenever Reagan was questioned about what he would do if he was elected president, all he said is that he would focus on five simple words: family, work, neighborhood, freedom, and peace. He simplified his message down to five simple words and effectively communicated it to his audience, and they listened and they elected him president. The next example is Abraham Lincoln and the Gettysburg Address. The Battle of Gettysburg was one of the bloodiest battles in American history. Over 51,000 American lives were lost, and soldiers fought in it from virtually every state in the country. There were soldiers from 12 states in the South and 18 states in the North. And whenever Abraham Lincoln was asked to give a speech about this, he didn't draw out his speech into be an hour long. It was 10 sentences long, the Gettysburg Address. And I'm sure, as y'all probably did, just like I did, he had to learn it in class 7 years ago. It's one of the most memorable speeches in American history, and it was only 10 sentences long. You see, if you compress what you need to say and communicate it effectively, it'll stand out, and it may go down in history as one of the best speeches ever. Now I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about how I demonstrate this quality. Well, you see, my freshman year of college, I started working at this place called Banning Mills, and I was a zipline canopy tour guide, which means that I would take people through the process, get them ready to zipline, and take them out ziplining. I was so excited to start, but I didn't realize how much I would have to work on my communication skills. You see, ziplining is fun, but it's also kind of dangerous. And so I had to work on, my body language and communicating my message to the audience so that they knew that they were safe and they knew what to do in what situations. That way, if anything were to happen, I had confidence as well as they had confidence in themselves to help themselves out of a situation. As you can see in the pictures, you're really high up and you're zip lining on one cord. There's not much room for error. And so you have to make sure that you tell these people correctly and efficiently what they need to do and what is expected of them. If they freak out, it can turn out very bad, and they have to know that they can ask you any questions. You have to approach it with a body language that's open and and charismatic and enthusiastic, and they have to believe that they are safe and believe that they can ask you any question at any time. That way you can keep them safe and make sure everything goes according to plan. Another reason why I believe I can demonstrate this quality is because I've been around horses my entire life. And when it comes to horses, a lot of it is just about your body language and just about how you communicate with that horse and how you take that horse communicating with you. As you can see in the picture at the bottom, that horse has his ears straight back. And it's hard to believe, but that horse is the same picture as the one right next to it. His name is George, and he's 3 years old now. That picture is from when he was about 3 or 4 months old. But when I tried to break him, even though I had been around him his entire life, he didn't know what a saddle was. He didn't know what it felt like to have a saddle on him. So you have to approach the situation with a very positive body language and be very nice. Use words that sound calm. Use a good tone and make sure that he can feed off your body language, and so he will develop a trust for you. Because if you do not communicate effectively with these horses or with any animals, they will react negatively just as a human would. It's all about being positive, having a positive outlook, and approaching the situation with a positive mindset. And most likely, you'll get a positive reaction in return. Now I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about how you can demonstrate this quality and take it forward with your life. In my opinion, there's 2 easy steps to do this. The first is to approach every situation with a positive outlook and let your tone and body language reflect that. Stay square with the person you're talking to. When you shake their hand, shake it firm. Whenever you're talking to them, maintain eye contact. The next rule, I believe, is how you approach a person and a situation can make a huge difference in the outcome of the conversation. You see, on the picture above, that person is just sitting there in a non-attentive manner, messing with his hands, not making eye contact, and that's going to tell to the person that's trying to talk to them that they're uninterested in what they have to say. And that's going to start off on the complete wrong foot, even if the person that is talking to them is very smart and could help them out in many ways. They'll never know that because their first instinct is that this person is uninterested. And on the bottom, you see they're shaking hands, they're making eye contact, both are smiling, they have a very positive body language, and that conversation, I would bet $100, is going to go a lot better. Now, in conclusion, and to bring it all home, communication is the most important quality in any relationship, personal or professional. You should always strive to keep improving your communication skills, and there's 3 ways to do that. The first is to be as clear as possible all the time. Make sure that people understand what you're saying. The second is to always focus your full attention on the topic at hand and to let other people know that it's a two-way street. If they have a question, they can ask, and they should always know that. The last is to practice what you preach. Don't be a hypocrite and don't say something and tell people to do something and do the exact opposite. There was a man named Jim Rohn who was born in 1930, very poor, and worked his way up to be a very successful motivational speaker and very successful in the personnel development industry. He had a quote that said, "Take advantage of every opportunity to practice your communication skills, so when the important occasions arise, you have the gift, the style, the sharpness, the clarity, and the emotions to affect other people." Thank you so much for listening to my presentation about communication.